Hey everyone, Oli here and welcome to my review of The Space Museum, the 7th story of the second season of Doctor Who, and the 15th story overall, starring William Hartnell as the first Doctor. It's 4 episodes long and it's written by Glenn Jones. I don't own the DVD of this story but I watched it online. I'll explain why during my review of the chase I do not have the DVD. So, the plot of The Space Museum is as follows. The TARDIS jumps a time track and the travelers arrive on the planet Zeros. There they discover their own future selves displayed as exhibits in the museum, established as a monument to the galactic conquest of the warlike Morok invaders, who now ruled the planet. When time shifts back to normal, they realize that they must do everything they can to avert this potential future. Vicky helps the native Zerons obtain arms and revolt against the Moroks. The revolution succeeds, and the travelers go their own way, confident that the future has been changed. So that's actually the overall plot of the story, but to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the story. I mean, I don't love it. I certainly don't hate it, but I do think it could have been a lot better, to be honest. I mean, I'd say it's average at best. It's just very average. But like The Unearthly Child, I think many of the story strengths actually come from the first episode. I actually really enjoyed episode 1, which is actually called The Space Museum. I thought it set the stage for the story really well, and I was actually looking forward to seeing how it was going to develop, but I was actually a bit disappointed. But speaking of going further into episode 1, it picks up immediately after the end of the Crusade, in which they're all frozen in the TARDIS console room. And then as soon as the episode picks up, they're all back in their normal clothes, but different normal clothes compared to what they were on the Crusades. We later see Vicky startled when she accidentally drops a glass of water and then time sort of rewinds and the glass reforms. I actually liked that vision. I thought it was very well done considering the fact that this was from the 1960s. Hell, even if I would see this in a present day movie or something, I'd actually be very impressed. I also like the cliffhanger episode 1 when the TARDIS crew see themselves as exhibits in the Space Museum. Once again, the very good set design. I kind of like the whole. Like I remember in episode 1, we sort of see this shot of Zeros and the Space Museum, and then where the TARDIS had landed. But I actually like that. And the music, especially in the first episode, was really good, especially when Ian was found out that the footprints weren't left and the sand or something like that. There's a part I liked in this story. It was the Dalek exhibit, and I actually thought it was a bit funny when Vicky said to the Doctor, Ian and Barbara, when the Dalek looked friendly. The Dalek looked friendly. I mean, the Dalek seemed friendly, as you'll see later on, Vicky. Speaking of the Daleks, I think there was a part when the Doctor was hiding inside the Dalek, when he was hiding from the Zerons, even though they even at the time, but the Doctor, well, they all thought they were, and the Doctor was like, "I know them all." He was imitating the Dalek's voice. That was a very funny scene, and also later on, I think in episode 2, when the Moroks caught the Doctor, and I think the head Morok, I think his name was Lobos. They were interrogating the Doctor, and he was just trolling them with their mind reading machine. I think he was picturing walruses and stuff like that. Like I said before in my review of the Romans, William Hartnell is very good at comedy, and I kind of wish you saw this side to him a lot more often. I mean, I think this is where he actually excels in comedy. As well as the dramatic long speeches, he does comedy very well. He does have three more, unless one counts the chase as a comedy. Comedic stories coming up, so yeah. There were some good performances in this story, well, mainly they're all from the TARDIS crew. Vicky, I think once again, she definitely stands out compared to Ian and Barbara. They didn't really do a whole lot, they just spent the whole story either getting captured or just wandering around corridors. But Vicky, she actually stands out. When there was a part, like I mentioned before in the plot, I think it was in episode 3 when she was with the Zerons and she breaks into the Morok armory and steals the weapons for the Moroks. The Zerons, Sorry, she steals the weapons for the Zerons, and then she helps them fight the Moroks. And the end of the story, at the end of this story, we see the Daleks return, and that was a very good lead up to the chase, which is coming up very soon. I'll get to that later. So, the flows of this story. After episode 1, this is where the plot kind of dips, and it almost ruins the execution and the groundwork that episode 1 really laid. Episode 2 was okay, but the timing was off, and then it kind of got worse after episode 2, and it just became boring and slightly unbearable to watch. William Hartnell, he was absent in episode 3, but his absence stuck out like a sore thumb, and he was absent before, let's say in the Keys of Marinus, when Ian, Susan, and Barbara, and those other 2 people, I think Altos and Sabitha, they did a very good job. I think because it was a good plot. The Keys of Marinus had a very good plot, but this story, I think William Hartnell chose the wrong time to go on a holiday in episode 3, because it's a vital part, and it wasn't really part of the story. It wasn't very strong, and the performances were a bit wishy-washy and a bit boring. I also feel as if the Morocks weren't very good villains. I mean, they were very boring also, and they didn't really entertain me as much as, let's say, Elakir in the Crusades, the previous story, or the Daleks, or let me use a better example. Tegana and Marco Polo, even though, no, not Tegana and Marco Polo. Let's just say the villains of the Keys of Marinus, or Tirtoxo in the Aztecs. I think they were very entertaining villains, but the Morocks, they weren't very entertaining, but they were, nah. No, the Zerons themselves, I mean, they were very entertaining also. I mean, they were okay, and I think they got better when Vicky helped them with the revolution, but they were just boring and dull characters in my opinion. But I did feel about the whole TARDIS crew thinking, but pretty much the whole TARDIS crew just thinking about, oh my god, how we need to find a way to at least stop us from being exhibits of the Morocks. And I think that should have been dealt with sooner, not necessarily defeating the Morocks, just explaining the whole situation sooner so they won't think about it too much. I think it was a bit annoying. Also, another thing that actually annoyed me was the kidnappings. I mean, Jesus Christ. The kidnappings were too much and it was a bit too excessive. I think there was a part in episode 4 or 3 of Barbara. She was about to get captured by a Morok, but then Vicky saves her and she's accompanied by another Zeron. And they chat for a bit and then only for them to get captured by the Moroks. And in episode 4, when Ian is about to save the Doctor, he does actually succeed, but then they get captured by the Moroks again. I didn't really like that. I mean, you can't really rely on too many kidnappings in one story. It's not really that good. It's a bit excessive. I mean, think of something else, please. Overall, I think the story had a lot of potential, but the execution and the writing wasn't very strong. The story had a great start, but what came after wasn't exactly the best. It was just wishy-washy, and the writing wasn't up to my standards. I mean, compared to the Crusades, which was absolutely good, was really absolutely amazing, the Space Museum kind of failed to live up to the hype. Or failed to live up to the type of hype of any other science fiction stories in Doctor Who. So out of 10, I'd give the Space Museum a 5.5. I might watch this story again some point down the line, maybe when I get the DVD, and hopefully my opinion will change, but let's see what happens. My next review is the penultimate story of Season 2, The Chase. The Doctor's third encounter with the Daleks, and Ian and Barbara's final story in the TARDIS. Thank you for watching this review. Let me know how I did and what you thought of the Space Museum. Like this video and subscribe to my channel. This is Oli. See you later.